Hari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivadagacharya Ashtodara Saraswati Srimad Abhayacharanavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 15, Text 25. Saha Vai Ratnam Tu Tat Kamadenu Drishtva Atmaishvarya Atishayanam Tat Na Adriyata Agnihotriyam Sa Abhilashaha Sa Haihaya Savairatnam tu tadrishtva Savairatnam tu tadrishtva Atmaishvaryatishayanam Atmaishvaryatishayanam Tannadriyata agnihotriyam Tannadriyata agnihotriyam Sabhilasha sahaihayah Sabhilasha sahaihayah Savairatnam tu tadrishtva Atmaishvaryatishayanam Tannadriyatagnihotriyam Sabhilasha sahaihayah Savairatnam tu tadrishtva Atmaishvaryatishayanam Tannadriyatagnihotriyam Sabhilasha sahaihayah Krishna. Shabilasha Sahayah. Saha, he, Kartavirya. Why, indeed, Ratnam, a great source of wealth. Tu, indeed, Tat, the Kamadhenu, in the possession of Jamadagni. Drishtva, by observing. Atma Aishwarya, his own personal opulence. Atishayanam, which was exceeding. Tat, that. Na, not. Adriyata, appreciated very much. Agnihotriyam, in that cow, which was useful for executing the Agnihotra sacrifice. Sa Abhilashaha, became desirous. Sa Haihayaha, his own men, the Haihayas. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Translation: Kartavirya thought that Jamadagni was more powerful and wealthy than himself because of possessing a jewel in the form of the Kamadhenu. Therefore, he and his own men, the Haihayas, were not very much appreciative of Jamadagni's reception. On the contrary, they wanted to possess that Kamadhenu, which was useful for the execution of the Agnihotra sacrifice. Purport: Jamadagni was more powerful than Kartavirya because of performing the Agnihotra yajna with clarified butter received from the Kamadhenu. Not everyone can be expected to possess such a cow. Nonetheless, an ordinary man may possess an ordinary cow, give protection to this animal, take sufficient milk from it, and engage the milk to produce butter and ghee, especially for performing the Agnihotra yajna. This is possible for everyone. Thus, we find that in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna advises Gorakshya, the protection of the cows. This is essential because if cows are cared for properly, they will surely supply sufficient milk. We have practical experience in America that in our various ISKCON forms, we are giving proper protection to the cows and receiving more than enough milk. In other forms, the cows do not deliver as much milk as in our farms. Because our cows know very well that we are not going to kill them. They are happy and they give ample milk. Therefore, this instruction given by Lord Krishna, Gorakshya, is extremely meaningful. The whole world must learn from Krishna how to live happily without scarcity simply by producing food grains, annad bhavanti bhutani, and giving protection to the cows, Gorakshya. Krishi Gorakshya Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam. Those who belong to the third level of human society, namely the mercantile people, must keep land for producing food grains and giving protection to the cows. This is the injunction of the Bhagavad Gita. In the matter of protecting the cows, the meat eaters will protest. But in answer to them, we may say that since Krishna gives stress to cow protection, those who are inclined to eat meat may eat the flesh of unimportant animals like hogs, dogs, goats, and sheep. But they should not touch the life of the cows, for this is destructive to the spiritual advancement of human society. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Savairattam tu tat drishtva atmaishvaryati shayanam tannadriyatagnihotriyam sabilasha sahaihayah. Once again translation. Kartaviryarjuna thought that Jamadagni was more powerful and wealthy than himself because of possessing a jewel in the form of the Kamadhenu. Therefore, he and his own men, the Haihayas, were not very much appreciative of Jamadagni's reception. On the contrary, they wanted to possess that Kamadhenu, which was useful for the execution of the Agnihotra sacrifice. Here, in this chapter 15, we are continuing to hear about the incarnation of the Lord as Lord Parashuram. In the last purport, Prabhupada gives the hint why why Lord Parashuram appears and what is the offense the king does. In the dynasty of Pururuva, in the Solar dynasty, we are seeing so many kings, and in that, we saw how Kartavirya Arjuna, he did so much tapasya, and the result of tapasya, he got 1,000 arms, and he got unobstructed power, wealth, fame, everything. As a result of his austerity, he got the king Kartavirya Arjuna got so much power, and he was wandering throughout the world without any opposition, and he was roaming in that way. And at one point of time, he offended Ravana, and Ravana also to punish Kartavirya Arjuna. And result of that, even Kartavirya Arjuna defeated Ravana also. The description is here. It's mentioned before that Kartavirya Arjuna caught the Ravana like a monkey, and Ravana was crying. When even demigods, when they hear the name of Ravana, they even they will fear of Ravana. But this Kartavirya Arjuna, even he caught easily. He defeated even Ravana. So he was very much proud about it, and he thought he is the controller of all. Ishvaroham aham bohi. I am the controller. He was in that mode. And in same mode, in this verse also, he was thinking, and he was wandering in the forest, and he entered the residence of Jamadagni. Jamadagni was a sage. He was performing sacrifice, Agnihotra sacrifice, with the help of Kamadhenu cow. He was doing his tapasya. But king enters the residence of Jamadagni, and we can understand that when king comes, he will not come alone. He will come with his followers. So many ministers will be there. So many people will be there. And but Jamadagni was a simple sage. He simply lived in a cottage. As soon as king appears in his residence, he received the guest properly. It's mentioned in the previous verses that he received them and then he cooked for all the king and their associates. So in this cooked in ghee and then he satisfied them in one sense. But the king was very much astonished. How a simple sage can do this much? He was very much astonished. And then here in this verse, Kartavirya is thinking, oh, how Jamadagni was more powerful than me. He almost gave accommodation to all of us. So he was thinking, okay, this sage, because he is having a cow called Kamadhenu, he could receive as much number of people as possible. And because the sage possesses a Kamadhenu cow, with the help of that cow, the sage performs so many sacrifices. Actually, in one sense, how the sage was so powerful, because one may have so much wealth, but this sage, because of his austerity, he got this Kamadhenu cow also, and with that Kamadhenu cow, he didn't involved in sense gratification process. Here it's mentioned that the sage Jamadagni was performing Agnihotra sacrifice. Actually, sacrifice, especially this Agnihotra sacrifice, is meant for householders, fire sacrifice. Because to do fire sacrifice, we need ample amount of butter and ghee. And this Kamadhenu cow gives as much milk as possible. From that milk, the sage did so many sacrifice. And here, in this verse, Kartavirya now he know, he has having a jewel. So we can see his mentality. He want to steal the cow. Now it's mentioned in the translation that he want to possess that cow. So when one has this power opulence, naturally the conditioned tendency is to misuse the power. This was his fall down. This is the offense. Because in Srimad Bhagavatam we can understand Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahat Gunan. If one is not Krishna consciousness, if he has so many opulence, wealth, power, fame, he will surely going to misuse, because that is the conditioned mentality. Because of that only we are here. And if the power and the wealth, fame is in the wrong person, it's natural to misuse them. And from the Puranas we can understand so many examples also. Even Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, they also did so much tapasya, they got power, and they got bewildered, they thought they are the controllers, and Lord gave them the proper lesson. And even sages like Durvasa Muni, even though they are sage, because of their power, they offended even the pure devotee like King Ambarish. Even we can see the demigods sometimes, even Lord Brahma, the king of heaven, Indra, sometimes they also gets bewildered because of their powers. So, actually, why they are misusing their power? Because they are thinking that whatever possession they have, they think that these are all permanent assets for them. They think these are a permanent thing for them. But nothing in this world is permanent. One should understand this. Without this mentality, one cannot achieve perfection in our life. So, and this pride is also mentioned as one of the enemies for the conditioned soul. So we should get rid of it. We should get away from that. And here, because of that pride, because king means he is having a power, he is having physical power, so he thought he will steal the cow. So he was planning for that. But the sages usually, the sages, they completely depends on Krishna. So they simply do sacrifices. And here, Prabhupada in the purport, he is mentioning that because the sage Kamadenu, the sage Jamadagni was performing this Agnihotra sacrifice because of having a Kamadenu cow. But in purport, Prabhupada is explaining that not everyone is expected to have such a cow. But still, Prabhupada is stressing here that one may have an ordinary cow in their house. With that cow, they can get milk. From the milk, they can get butter, ghee, and with that ghee, they can also do the fire sacrifice like Agnihotra Yajna. But performing this Agnihotra Yajna, fire sacrifice, especially in this age, it's very difficult. But devotees, they can similarly they can have a cow, simple ordinary cow it may be. They can have a milk. With that milk, they can cook many preparation and they can offer to Krishna. In that way, they can perform this sacrifice. And in this purport, Prabhupada gives an example of also how in our ISKCON movement, in our forms, how we give proper protection to the cows, and how we should teach others also to give this Goraksha. In this purport, Prabhupada mentions the two things. We have Goraksha and Krishi. Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam. So we should depend on land and we should do agriculture farming and then we should give protection to the cows. So these two things Prabhupada is stressing in this purport. Everyone should do this cow protection, and here it's mentioned that for Vaishyas, it's especially for mercantile people, this farming and cow protection is mentioned. But in a large, actually, Vaishyas, they will do in a large scale, actually, this Goraksha and farming. But even traditionally, even Brahmanas or Kshatriyas also, they will also possess some cows in their houses. They will also protect the cows. So, Prabhupada here stresses these both things and is giving example also. The whole world must learn from Krishna how to live happily without scarcity simply by producing food grains and giving protection to the cows. So, first we will see what is this cow protection, Goraksha. We can see cow is not just an animal, it's not just an ordinary animal. From the cows, we can get so many things. Like Prabhupada mentions that we can get milk, yogurt, ghee, butter, so many things, and we can make thousands of preparations, and with that we can do sacrifices also, fire sacrifices also. And even the cow dung and cow urine, that is also so that will also purify the existence. So cows are very important animals for human society. But nowadays, and also it's mentioned, cow is one of the mothers. There are 7 mothers prescribed in the Shastras. The mother who gave this body to us, gave birth, and the nurse, and the wife of the king, wife of the Brahmana, wife of a spiritual master. Cows also is considered as one of the mother, and land is also Prithvi. Land is also considered as one of the mother. One may say that, oh, this is like it's just sentimental. What cows thinking like a mother? It's not sentimental. We can understand clearly that when a child takes birth for 1 or 2 years, its only food is mother's milk. After that, the man is completely depends on the cow's milk because it gives so much value to the human life. To human body, it's healthy also. And then, as I mentioned, even the cow dung and cow urine, they are also useful. So, on these cows, simply, we can see Prabhupada in one lecture mentions that simply if you give grass, it gives, we can get milk. Where is the machine? You just give the grass and you will get the milk. Where is that? You cannot create such a wonderful creature. You cannot. So cow is an important animal, and but nowadays we can see people are very much fond of keeping dogs in the houses. They take care very much of dogs. They will keep, because in a nuclear family they were in an apartment, they are living in a city, and they are not fond of keeping cows. They are keeping just dogs, and dogs, when it sees a master, it licks, and they are getting some pleasure. But we can see this is that's why people are having, I think, maybe they're having this animalistic propensities. They just want to simply eat, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. They think that this is a life. But this is not the goal of human life. You can see, even in big cities, they have fancy dogs in their houses. And if you want to feed the dog, the man has to work so hard. There are so many shops also outside, like pets feed, dogs feed. They have special food for the dogs, and they are not cheap thing. They are expensive. To maintain a dog is so much expensive, but people are very much interested in doing that. But nowadays people are not fond of keeping cows in their houses. If you keep cows in the house, it gives us such a peaceful atmosphere. The whole atmosphere is purified. We can see. If you have a dog in your house, it will always bark. Whomever goes in the street or whomever comes, it will start barking. They don't understand the relationships and all. But if you keep the cow, it creates a peaceful atmosphere. And this atmosphere is very much healthy. It's not that, just for a peaceful life we have to have a cow. No, not for that. If you keep cows, then your mentality also will be peaceful for executing Krishna consciousness. This is the main thing. If you take care of the cows, then Krishna himself pleased. Go Brahmana Hitayacha. So Krishna is very much fond of cows, and he himself, we can see when Krishna attains the particular age where he can go along with the calves outside for pasturing ground, Mother Yashoda want to give shoe to Krishna, because in the forest so many thorns will be there. So for the protection of the child, Yashoda want to give shoe to Krishna. But what Krishna says? Oh, you want to give shoe to me? No, not only to me. Give to all calves. You have to give shoes to all the calves. He was demanding like that, because Krishna considers, I am going to serve the cow. My master cow, he is going in a barefoot. How I can go with the shoes? He was demanding. So when we have a cow in our house, we should have this kind of attitude that we are performing service to the cows. In that way, it pleases Krishna. That's why in purport also, Prabhupada mentions that in our ISKCON forms, our cows give more milk than any other forms. Because when cows thinks that, this man is not going to kill me, when this natural affection is there, because of that affection, more milk comes. So devotees should have these feelings towards the cow. But nowadays people, even those who are having cows and those who are performing these dairy industries, they treat the cows not for this purpose. They want to make money out of it. They want more milk. For that, so many injections they put to the cows. These are all sinful. It's mentioned, Prabhupada mentions that even to mistreat the cow is sinful. Not, not, not to speak of, what to speak of killing. Even to mistreat the cow in the house or anywhere, it's sinful. So, but nowadays people are thinking that keeping a cow is, it's an expensive thing. Oh, we have to feed. It's an expensive thing. Not expensive, because here Krishna mentions that if you depend on land and if you protect your cows, then this food, shelter, cloth, everything is there. If you are doing agriculture, farming, and if you grow your own food, for that also, even the cow dung, cow urine is useful for agriculture also in that way. But people, the whole modern civilization, now they are, in a different mentality. They want to, what they are thinking, if they have money, they can purchase packet milks or outside vegetables, they can live. But anytime this situation may collapse. That's why Prabhupada wanted ISKCON should be a community, it should be independent from the outside modern civilization. It's not that Prabhupada always condemns the modern civilization, but he's telling that at the cost of, giving up our Krishna consciousness, we should not live in the modern civilization. That's why Prabhupada here mentioned both the things, cow production and land, because if you have cows, it needs ground to, go here for pasturing. So we need land both. If both are there, and then if one have a land and cows, they can live peacefully. But nowadays, people are thinking cows as a burden, but that is not the thing. That is not the main thing. Because at the cost of, not practicing Krishna consciousness, then what is the use of making money? And then, we have to understand this thing. And many people, because they are fond of money, they will have a cow, they will keep the cow as long as it gives milk, and then they will just send in the street, they will leave it in the street. That is also sinful. Because cow is considered as a mother. When our mother becomes old, we will not leave just like that. We will take care fully. So we should also take care of the cows fully. And we can see when they live outside, these cows, we can see in so many streets in so many cities, cows just like that, they will roaming and then eating the garbages. It's so bad to see that horrible situation. So we have to preach these things to the people. Of course, we are preaching. Okay, you have to chant Hare Krishna, you have to do book distribution, you have to preach everything that is there. But when people have this farm community and cow production, if everything is there, these things are conducive for our Krishna consciousness. That's why Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj Bhakti Vikas Swami, now he's stressing more on this establishing the farm communities. Because many Grihastha devotees are there, they are working outside, and then for their sadhana, also for the Krishna consciousness, they are very much struggling. They are performing, but still why in a difficult manner, why they have to do. So that's why Maharaj wants to establish these farm communities, which Prabhupada also is stressing here. And then regarding this farm communities, Prabhupada also mentions that we should have a farm community. We have to establish the farm community for our devotees. In the beginning, book distribution was there, Harinam we are going, preaching is there. But in one place, Prabhupada mentions in Hyderabad farm, we should have a farm, we should grow our own food, and then we'll go in bullock carts and we'll preach to chant Hare Krishna. So, if outside people, they saw because they are also not willingly working in this modern civilization. They are also in the stress. They also don't want to be in this civilization, but they don't have any alternative. That is the thing. Because whole our leaders also there, because of our leaders, so many things, so many factors are there. Because of that, many people are fond of working in a factory, working outside jobs, in a technical field. They're working, they're getting the money. They don't know for whom they're working. They don't know their boss also for whom they're working. But just because they're getting money, people are working. Nobody has this outside. Outside, many will say for job satisfaction, but nobody has job satisfaction. Nobody wants to live like this. But still, they are forced to live because this present civilization is so much in confused state. But Srila Prabhupada's books, Srila Prabhupada gives the proper guideline for this civilization. Here we can see, just the whole world must learn from the Krishna how to live happily without scarcity, simply by producing food grains and giving protection to the cows. Just you depend on the land, depend on Krishna, then you can have a peaceful life for executing Krishna consciousness. This is the main thing. In one place, in one lecture, Prabhupada was asking to the devotees who are hearing the lecture, how actually to perform daily sadhana, we need at least 6 to 7 hours, 2 hours chanting, 2 hours reading and hearing, morning and evening artis. At least 6 to 7 years minimum we required. And nearly 50 to 100 devotees were sitting, and then Maharaj was asking, how many of you are willing to do this 6 to 7 hours sadhana daily properly? Everybody raised their hands. Okay, everyone wants to do, even devotees, they want to do proper, sadhana, everything. And then how many you are doing like that, he asked, and then only two or three only they raised the hand. That is also only ladies, because they were in the house, because they have time, they take care of children, they does this. Because outside if people go for work, then they will not get proper time even for doing the basic sadhanas, and they will do in a mechanical way, and then the Krishna consciousness is very important, and then that is not properly, they're not able to do properly. But if we live in a farm communities, then just all these things, they can be directly served in a Krishna consciousness. So this we should learn. And Maharaj said, okay, we have in books Prabhupada gives these ideas, but we have to give the practical shape to that, and then many people are doing that, and we have to encourage and we have to preach these things, and everyone has to come to this level. And Prabhupada explains that if we do this, millions will join in our ISKCON, Prabhupada says. So this farm communities and this cow production is very essential, and there are some quotes also where Prabhupada stresses this cow production. Just I'll read that. Our farm projects are an extremely important part of our movement. We must be self-sufficient by growing our own grains and producing our own milk. Then there will be no question of poverty. So develop these farm communities as far as possible. They should be developed as an ideal society depending on natural products, not industry. Industry has simply created godlessness, because they think they can manufacture everything that they need. Our Bhagavad Gita philosophy explains that men and animals must have food in order to maintain their bodies, and the production of food is dependent on the rain, and the rain, of course, is depending on chanting Hare Krishna. Therefore, let everyone chant Hare Krishna, eat nicely, and keep their bodies fit and healthy. This is ideal lifestyle. We do not condemn modern civilization, but we do not like to get it at the cost of God consciousness. That is suicide. So in many places, Prabhupada stresses we have to establish these farm communities. We have to show people how to live peacefully. Thereby we can execute Krishna consciousness. And at the end of the purport, Prabhupada was mentioning, when we speak about cow production, many meat eaters will protest. So Prabhupada here gives, if they want to eat meat, they can eat the flesh of hogs, dogs, like lower animals. Actually, meat eating is sinful, but one who cannot control, at least they should not touch cows, because cow killing is very, very much sinful. The one who kills the cow, as many hairs on the body of the cows, that many life they have to take birth in a hellish condition, hellish life. So it's very sinful. That's why Prabhupada is here giving, at least if you want, you can eat at least lower animals, but don't touch the cows. And in one place, Prabhupada, he says, okay, if you want to eat cow's flesh, don't kill the cows. I will give you the cows. When the cows dies naturally, then I'll give you. But don't kill the cows. Like that in one place, Prabhupada was telling. So, actually, meat eating is sinful, but still, if one cannot control it, one should not kill the cows at any cost. This is a very important thing also. So these are few things we can find in this purport. I'll finish here, and then any questions or comments? We have our farm in Karamandurai from Salem here, 60 to 80 kilometers from here. We have our farm, there also we are doing our farming. So those who are interested, they can visit there also in Karamandurai. Yeah, please join us. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.